to know about me. How's your leg?
That's it, that's it. For the rollicking, jumping podcast.
Oh, hello, Georgie boy.
No, for esto.
Was it difficult for you to, I mean, you'd had a very public life in America in the motion picture industry. Of course, you've had a public life here, but it's a totally different life.
Very different. When I was acting, of course, I loved acting. I loved working in the theater and pictures. I didn't particularly like being a movie star, if you know what I mean. There's a big difference. I loved working at my craft. I didn't like having to have a public, the public appearance of being a movie star. Although even in Hollywood, my private life was pretty much my own. When I married, my private life became public, and I really had no privacy at all. And that was an adjustment to make.
When I saw Rome Open City, you see, it was so different from anything I'd ever seen. All the American pictures, as you know, at that time, beautiful, smooth, and everything was perfection. And suddenly on the screen appeared this stark naked movie, which was so realistic, it was so true, and it so fascinated me, this new way of making a movie, to make it so real. And I then had 10 years in Hollywood. I've been very fortunate, worked with very good people, and my movies were, most of them, successes, so I had no reason to complain. But I've always had a desire inside of me to change. And when I saw that movie, I said, this is what I want to do. I want to do a real movie like Rossellini's. Then I went home and sat down and wrote a letter and said, I would like to work for you. I thought, well, he'll never ask for me because I'm in Hollywood, and I mean, it would never occur to him that I like to leave Hollywood and come and do little black and white movies in Italy. And he had no idea who I was because he didn't go much to the movies. And also, the war was that I didn't have many movies. But then he remembered he'd gone into a cinema because the bombs were falling all over. And for protection, he'd gone into a cinema. And there they were showing Intermezzo. So then when they reminded him, he remembered who I was. And then he wrote back, and he told me the story of Stromboli. And I accepted it, and that's when I came to Italy, and I stayed on.
I've thought about it, and it seems to me that my mother was fated to be an actress in a certain way, because the way she saw her own family was always through a lens or on photographs. Her father, his name was Justus Bergman, was a painter and a very early photographer, and he had a photographic studio in Stockholm. And he used my mother a lot as a model, so when she was young, he would pose her either holding a newspaper or putting on glasses or a funny hat. And he took moving pictures of her when she was 1 and 2 years old. My mother had a little bit of film footage of her own mother, but that's the only memory that she ever had of her mother. Friedel, my mother's mother, died when Ingrid was only 3. She has film showing her as a child going to the graveyard to see her mother's grave. And I know that my mother looked at those pictures over and over again. And then her father died when she was 13. So all she had left of her father was his photographs of her and the moving pictures.
She always had a photo of them by the bed, and then when my mother died and we collected her things, we noticed that it was full of traces of her lips. She probably had been kissing them.
That must have been the closest that she could get to family life, and it was always seen through a lens, always seen through photographs. When she looked at her father, it would have been through the lens of his camera.
Grace Kelly was born on the 12th of November, 1929, in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
You could say she was always a star in the making. I mean, when you're born with those looks, you know, where else are you going to go? But it wasn't the most natural path for her. She came from very good Pennsylvania stock.
She came from a very good family. She was very well educated, thoroughly middle class. Her father was an Olympic rower.
And she went to a very kind of well-to-do convent school. I think her parents rather disdained the idea of acting, even though she was very keen early on.
And who thought that his daughter being an actress was akin to being a streetwalker. And he really didn't like it.
It was certainly at the, you know, going against probably what her parents wished for her. And that kind of gave you an idea of the strength, the inner strength that Grace Kelly had, that she was willing to kind of go into battle for her own beliefs. And that would be throughout her career. She would put up a fight when she didn't like something.
My mother was 15 when she found work as an extra at the movie studio in Stockholm. She said she could not believe that she'd been paid to have so much fun. At 17, my mother was accepted into Stockholm's Royal Dramatic School, but the prospect of 5 years more schooling was not appealing. The memory of working at the film studio was vivid, and when the offer came for a speaking part in a movie, Ingrid took it, against the advice of her teachers.
They were so angry with me when I wanted to leave. But you see, when you're young, you're in a great hurry. And I was so anxious to right away get big parts and be a well-known actress. Sure of myself I was. I was so happy to have gotten out of reality and come into my world of imagination that I had lived with since I was a child, that I felt at home. The camera never frightened me, and everybody thought it was very funny when I did my very first scene that I was going around so happy and not at all frightened. That stayed with me. I have never had any fear. And I think I heard her say, well, see, I always knew I was going to become famous, which I thought shocked me. I said, well, this sounds so pretentious. And my mother was anything but pretentious. She was very simple. You know, there was a simplicity about her that was terribly disarming. I can understand wanting to know, since you are a child, wanting to be an actor or wanting to be a musician, but to have this absolute certitude, in total modesty, that she was going to be so different, that she was going to be noticed for her differences.
When she married my father, she was still very much a girl. She was 18. She was living with relatives. They were protective of her. My father was teaching dentistry when he met my mother. My father, I think, represented very much stability and knowledge and somebody who seemed intelligent and capable. And I don't think she'd been out a lot. It's understandable why my father would fall in love with her. She was very beautiful and had that vulnerable quality and that youth and talent and enthusiasm. She had a wonderful sense of humor. You know, she was just fun to be with. And one of the things my mother kept all of her life was a childlike quality. And I think that all great actors and actresses have that too. They are able to be children. And that feeling of let's play, my mother carried that through all her life. Let's have a good time.
I just thought that she had an incredible drive. She was an artist, you know, and I always imagined an artist as being somebody who needs to do paint or write. They cannot help it.
The Swedish film Intermezzo brought Ingrid to the attention of American producer David O. Selznick. It happened because of the instinct of his assistant, Kay Brown, who would become my mother's lifelong friend and agent. There was little doubt in my mother's mind. The move to the United States would change our lives, but she saw it was the chance of a lifetime, one she believed she had to take.
Ja, hier sprechen die vier Gesellen. Ja, Sie sind mit der Geschäftsleitung verbunden. Jawohl, die ist weiblich. Doch, Sie werden mit uns zufrieden sein. Statten Sie, dass wir Ihnen persönlich für das Vertrauen danken, das Sie uns bewiesen haben? Ja, Moment bitte.
Hallo? Ja, hier spricht Käthe.
Tänk en kväll, då träffade jag Nils. Han var också ensam. Var förälskad. Han berättade om allt sånt här som lockar. Vindstilla nätter, stekande solar. Och kolröken i passadvinden. Om feta negresser, ögonvitor av pärlemor.
How about some fish and chips after the show? How about a dozen oysters and a pint of stout?
What about a glass of champagne? Oh, hello, Masha. Hello, Ivy.
Watch out, Ivy. How's about it, Ivy?
Oh, no, Ivy.
Ain't she a bit of ball?
See me dance, see me dance round. My foot was flying when I whirl my body around. Then commenced playing my feet were
Sing it, Sam.
You must remember this. A kiss is just a kiss. A sigh is just a sigh. The fundamental things apply as time goes by. And when two lovers woo, they still say I love you. On that you can rely. No matter what the future brings as time goes by.
Sam, I thought I told you never to play.
You're me now, and I am you. Now you understand. Now you're going. And you're going well and fast and far, and we'll go to America another time, Maria. Stand up now and go, and we both go. Stand up, Maria. Remember, you're me too. You're all there will ever be of me now. Stand up. No, stand up. There's no goodbye, Maria, because we're not apart. Pilar.
How can a mad woman help her husband to escape?
But you're not mad.
Yes, I am mad, as my mother was mad.
No, Paula. That wasn't true. Help me.
If I were not mad, I could have helped you. Whatever you had done, I could have pitied and protected you. But because I am mad, I hate you. Because I am mad, I have betrayed you. And because I am mad, I'm rejoicing in my heart without a shred of pity, without a shred of regret. Watching you go with glory in my heart. Mr. Cameron, come! Come, Mr. Cameron, take this man away! Take this man away!
I'm sorry about this, sister. I didn't realize you followed me in the church. Sweet little fella, isn't it?
That's quite all right. Bring him any time. Well, I mean, it doesn't matter. I see that animals love you.
Oh, yes, but people don't.
Oh, you must be wrong. I'm sure that when people get to know you, they love you.
No, that's when they don't. You see, sister,
Yes, Mr. Bogardus.
I've never had any children of my own.
I know why you came in.
Why?
Because something has happened to us.
It doesn't happen like that. In a day.
It happens in a moment sometimes. I felt it this afternoon. It was like lightning striking. It strikes rarely.
Understand how it happened.
Push me away. I'm sorry to intrude on this tender scene.
I couldn't help what happened. He's been drinking.
So he carried you down here.
Oh, please, Alex.
You love him.
No, of course not. Please go.
For what it's worth, as an apology, your wife is telling the truth. I knew her before you, loved her before you, but I wasn't as lucky as you. Sorry, Alicia.
Please go.
Good night.
Vistiaseis como un hombre. Un acto indecente. Y que va en contra de las enseñanzas de las Sagradas Escrituras.
De eso no puedo culpar a nadie. Al vivir continuamente entre soldados era más apropiado que llevase ropa de hombre. Pero dadme un vestido de mujer y lo luciré si por ello me permitís asistir a misa. De otro modo no lo luciré, ya que a Dios le place que utilice este. Todo lo que he hecho ha sido siguiendo órdenes de mi Señor. Eso es lo único que he hecho bien.
¿Cómo sabéis que vuestras voces proceden de Dios?
Sabía que procedían de Dios porque todo lo que me ordenaban hacer era algo bueno. Señores míos, ya contesté a estas mismas preguntas en Poitiers. Mi rey encargó al arzobispo de Reims y a otros sacerdotes fieles y eruditos que me examinasen antes de encomendarme al mando de su ejército. Enviad por los escritos de Poitiers y tendréis todas mis respuestas.
Bästa herr Roseline, Jag har sett era filmer Rom, Öppen stad och Paisa och tyckte mycket om dem. Om ni behöver en svensk skådespelerska som talar mycket bra engelska, som inte glömt sin tyska, som kan göra sig måttligt förstådd på franska och endast kan säga ti amo på italienska, är jag beredd att komma och göra en film med er. Ingrid Bergman. Vi filmar på en liten otillgänglig vulkanö som heter Stromboli. Här är vi långt ifrån alla nyhetsjägare och paparazzi. Det är så vackert här. Skönt att få vara i fred. De skulle se mig i Hollywood nu. Hela ön är engagerad i inspelningen. Många är med i filmen som statister och skådespelare. Och andra hjälper till som filmarbetare.
It was a combination of passion, that I fell in love with a man that was so different from any other man that I'd ever known. And it was my boredom in Hollywood. And the more I worked there, the more I wanted to break out of it and do something different. But I wanted to do something that they didn't expect me to do.
Buongiorno. Buenos días. Preparemos su carta personal. Nombre y apellido, nacionalidad, edad, nombre del padre, nombre de la madre y qué profesión tiene.
Come vi chiamate?
Karin Björnsen,
Luogo di nascita?
Kovno, Lituania.
Data di nascita?
8 maggio del 20.
Nome del padre?
Carl Björnsen.
Nome della madre da nubile?
Maria Pasvalis.
Professione?
Nessuna.
Pregúntale un poco por qué se encuentra aquí, que nos cuente un poco la historia de su vida.
Il console desidera qualche informazione. Vuol sapere come e perché siete internata qui.
You know, in 1949, my mother fell in love with my dad, and she was married still to Peter. That created an enormous scandal, and then to make it worse, you know, a few months later she got pregnant. She wasn't married, and she wasn't even divorced from Peter. That created a scandal that was of epic dimension.
I certainly thought that there would be some write-ups in the paper that I wanted a divorce, but I certainly didn't expect for months and years to be headlines and on the first page.
When she had a child with Roberto Rossellini and she wasn't married to him, why it was such a scandal and disaster. If it had been one of the actresses maybe who'd always played the bad girl, they would have said that's writing character.
It's all ashore that's going ashore as a new SS Constitution sails. But Mark and Grace are staying aboard for the Superliner's maiden voyage on the Sun Lane route to Europe. It's a morning sailing, so Grace and Mark, who've naturally brought along new outfits for this gala crossing, lose no time getting into them. Grace picks a Pesante shantung dress with swirl skirt and scoop neckline, just one of the ensemble Sophie of Saks designed for her. Mark, not to be outdone, wears a tie silk sport shirt and navy slacks. Naturally, the queen of the U.S. merchant fleet has a swimming pool, and naturally, Grace is ready for it. In costume, that is. It's a one-piece suit of grosgrain ribbon. As for her being ready for the water, well...
Kelly decided to pursue a career on the stage against her family's wishes.
In her graduation yearbook, Grace Kelly was described as a famous star of stage and screen, which seems to me to indicate that she was probably a star in the making from a very early age.
So while there was a path laid out for her, she became a model. She was stunningly good looking, and she was intent on getting into the theatre at the very least.
She had the looks, she had the posture, she had the attitude. All she needed to develop were the skills.
Through her family connections, Kelly gained a place at the American Academy of Dramatic Arts.
There were sort of actors and playwrights within the family. Her uncle George actually won a Pulitzer Prize. And he was one of the guys actually who helped her get into the New York Academy of Dramatic Arts.
After graduating, Grace Kelly continued to pursue a career on the stage and acted in over 60 live television performances.
There's no question about it that this is fantastically good training ground. It allowed her to learn in the field, as it were. TV was fast, it was made fast, it was, and she played an enormous variety of roles. So it gave her the ability to be able to shift from one character to another fairly swiftly.
Feeling more comfortable around cameras, Grace Kelly pursued a career in television and film roles over theatre.
She'd done a lot of theatre work, but the problem with her theatre work was, good as she was, she didn't have the voice for it, really.
And she worked very hard on getting her delivery out there, and actually if you watch the later films, there's something quite strident about her delivery. She's quite forceful, and I think that comes from the fact that she was told very early on she had quite a weak voice and she needed to work on it.
And so she felt much more comfortable as a film star when she suddenly managed to get into film.
She made her film debut in the 1951 film 14 Hours.
It's a rather sort of plain melodrama about a suicide on a ledge who's about to throw himself off and the policeman's trying to talk him down. And she, through her TV work, got no more than a cameo, really. She plays a divorcee in a lawyer's office who sort of gazes out the window and sort of is touched by the moment and decided not to go through with the divorce. You can hardly call it a role that would change things. It really was a very small part.
Hey, good looking.
Although her performance in the film may have gone unnoticed by critics, she made an impression on movie star Gary Cooper during a visit to the set.
Well, I could see why Gary Cooper would want her in the film. She was, you know, sort of ice cold blonde, and he probably had a penchant for her, maybe, and I'm sure she must have had one for him.
He liked her very much. He said she was totally unusual, not the sort of Hollywood star he was used to, and he liked that.
But it wasn't just how beautiful she was. There was something very kind of robust about her personality, very earthy. You know, she talked a good shop with the men. She kind of stood her own ground.
Her relationship with Gary Cooper would prove pivotal to her career, as he convinced director Fred Zinnemann and producer Sam Spiegel to cast her in their next film.
Well, I would have thought Sam Spiegel would have taken a shine to her. She was blonde, and he was very much into blondes.
Certainly, it was one of those great moments of fortuitous meeting, because Cooper was a real powerhouse. I mean, he's probably one of the very few actors who could have persuaded those two to actually even look at somebody, let alone cast.
Do not forsake me, oh my darling, on this our wedding day. Do not forsake me, oh my darling. Wait, wait, Lord.
No, thank you.
You must realize, darling, that even the smallest of creatures in Africa are voracious. I was reading only the other day of an incident of the Anoma Assam, the red driver ant.
It's a very tough insect.
Apparently some poor blighter left his launch tied up at the riverbank, and along came an army of these ants and ate up everything except the engine.
Good heavens.
We have hundreds of different varieties of ants in this country.
Oh, yes, I saw quite a few ants this afternoon. But I guess they were just the old-fashioned kind, huh?
All through, I guess.
A murderer would never parade his crime in front of an open window.
Why not?
Why, for all you know, there's probably something a lot more sinister going on behind those windows.
What? Oh.
No comment.
Let's start from the beginning again, Jeff. Tell me everything you saw. He was walking with our son. He let go of his hand. There was traffic, looked the other way. The boy was killed. I know it must sound ludicrous to anyone who hasn't actually lived through it, but it got to the point that he wouldn't even pick out a coat or suit by himself.
I don't know where to begin to apologize, Mrs. Elgin.
You can begin by not calling me Mrs. Elgin.
And you never left him.
Twice left, twice returned. He's a helpless child. Mixed up with brawling sailors. Harry.
If you were freezing to death in the sea, a man brought his helicopter right over your head and rescued you, wouldn't you help that man if he got in trouble?
Did Harry crash at sea?
Yes, 4 days ago.
You know your husband's at war, but somehow you just can't believe that he'd crash into the sea.
Hasn't Harry told you anything about what he's been doing?
He never talks about the war.
Extraña clase de vida, ¿no se siente sola?
Sí, desesperadamente sola.
No, así lo he imaginado.
Primero el año que fui a la escuela en California, luego el verano que papá nos llevó a Europa.
Ah, ya entiendo. Nunca aquí, ¿eh?
No, nunca aquí.
Es difícil de creer. Me refiero a que no llega a los 50 años y no carece del todo de atractivos.
Oh, no crea usted que me paso la vida sepultada en la selva. Voy a Bogotá y Barranquilla y tengo muchos amigos y hasta me han hecho proposiciones matrimoniales.
¿Las rechazó?
Sí. Bueno, no me siento desesperada aún. Tal vez un día baje de la montaña el príncipe encantado con que sueña toda mujer.
Reiniero empezó a fijarse en Kelly mientras rodaba El Cisne, una comedia romántica con Alec Guinness y en la que interpretaba el papel de una princesa que debía escoger entre dos amores. Reiniero llegó a Estados Unidos y se desataron los rumores.
There are many stories that you're actively seeking a wife. Would you care to comment on that?
No, I'm not. That you can misquote.
I see.
What if you did meet a girl that you liked here? Would all this publicity about it prevent you from doing anything about it?
No, it shouldn't. I don't think anything should.
If you were to marry, what kind of a girl do you have in mind?
I don't know. The best.
Grace Kelly then headed to the south of France to star opposite Cary Grant in To Catch a Thief, her last collaboration with Alfred Hitchcock.
Well, it is a little large, but it's on the real estate agent's list.
Let me see.
Let's look at the gardens first. No need to bother the people. Why don't you own a place like this?
Palaces are for royalty. We're just common people with a bank account.
In another film by Hitchcock, To Catch a Thief, rather oddly, she appears in Monaco, where she later became princess, driving a car with Cary Grant, producing a picnic and saying, "What would you like, breast or leg?" Thought to be terribly daring at the time.
You want a leg or a breast?
You make the choice.
To Catch a Thief is a lesser Hitchcock. It's a bit more frivolous. It's more of a caper movie. It's a lovely travelogue about the south of France. But one of the wonderful things it's a beautiful film about Grace Kelly.
Should I ask the social director to introduce us?
No. I was just wondering which was the best way out of here.
Well, the Mediterranean used to be this way.
Well, I'm a gambler. Let's try that.
It's all about really how wonderful and sexy and beautiful she is. And the flirtation with Cary Grant is what really sings out of the movie. It includes what I think is one of the great screen kisses. She just leads him like a puppy dog along by the lead, and she gives him the kiss and then she shuts the door.
En vez de protestar, era evidente que Rainiero estaba persiguiendo insistentemente a Grace Kelly. El día de Navidad de 1955, a las 7 de la tarde, el príncipe llegó a la casa que Kelly tenía en Filadelfia. Ayudó a fregar los platos, se sentó a jugar a cartas y pasó la noche en la habitación de invitados.
I've no proof when people say you're more or less aloof, but you're sensational. I don't care if you are called the fair Miss Frigidaire, 'cause you're sensational. Making love is quite an art. What you require is the proper squire to fire your heart. And if you say that one fine day you'll let me come to call, we'll have a ball, 'cause you're sensational, sensational, that's all.
En abril de 1956, al acabar el musical Alta Sociedad con su antiguo amante, Bing Crosby, Grace se preparó para zarpar hacia Europa. Cada mínimo movimiento que hacía daba lugar a ríos de tinta en la prensa. La familia navegó en el SS Constitution, una línea en la que Grace encontró un medio de transporte y de escapatoria a finales de los 40. El viaje fue placentero y Grace tuvo mucho tiempo para pensar en lo que el futuro le depararía en Europa. El Constitution ancló en Montecarlo para que los yates reales de Rainiero le dieran la bienvenida. La expectativa era mayúscula, mientras Grace esperaba que Rainiero apareciera. Una armada de pequeñas embarcaciones rodeaban al Constitution. Entonces, Grace Kelly cruzó hacia su nueva vida. El sol brillaba entre las nubes mientras embarcaba en el yate real. Grace esperó en el puente mientras el yate se acercaba a la orilla. Un hidroavión de Aristóteles Onassis bañó a la pareja con miles de claveles rojos y blancos.
So on and on it'll always be true love, true love, for you and I have a guardian angel on high with nothing to do but to give to you and to give to me love forever true. For you and I have a guardian angel on high with nothing to do but to give to you and to give to me love for